Hey guys, I'm Amarat, and in this video I'm going to put everything I've shown you so far into use and make a dungeon map. Just to walk you through everything I use. Like I said, I already demonstrated this in previous videos, but just so you are able to see how I combine all of those techniques and all of that knowledge. So we are going to make a new map, and already having some idea how big it should be. So let's say I want it 30 by 30 fields, and one field for me is 70 pixels. So this is the size of map I want to go with. And the first thing to do really is unlocking background layer, and even before I do something with this, I usually rename it. So let's say tiles, because I want to use actual pattern here, which is this tile texture I already used in previous videos. So in previous video, when we are talking about patterns and so on, I made tiles which match exactly my grid size, and that's what I wanted to do. So those are my tiles. Now I want to make walls on this, so new layer, or name it walls, always keep descriptive names. Whatever color you choose, it doesn't really matter. Let's go with black. We want to select our interior now. Let's say that we are going to select our interior, and then we will invert it and fill the inverted parts with our walls. So there will be some entry hallway, and there will be some, let's say, rectangular room, fairly large. There needs to be some entrance into it. Let's say it will be here, close to its side. Then hallway will continue. There will be, let's say, corner, and there will be perhaps some traps. I'm really just improvising now. I don't have this thought out in advance. And there will be another corner, and let's say that we are going to have circular tower here, which will have stairs leading upwards. See, I'm not going to make stairs in this video. I'm going to dedicate whole tutorial to making stairs, but for now let's just prepare some tower for it. And I'm going to make it on purpose this big, because now I've got center of the tower in this cross section, so I don't have to change my grid size to have grid in the middle of the tower. Now I want some entrance to it, so let's use polygon in this case. And let's say that it will go from here. So perhaps something like from this direction. All right. So this is going to be my entrance. And now let's just connect it to our hallway like this. And I don't want this part here, so I'm going to remove it. There we go. So there's some fairly wide hallway, then it leads into this trap part. And then we will get to those stairs, which will lead upwards or downwards, whatever is going to be the case. And then let's say that we want to have some secret room here, which will be hidden behind perhaps some doors, stone doors, whatever. Let's just use fairly simple polygon, which is still being snapped to grid. And I'm using snapping to grid all the time, mainly because whenever I want to use vision blocking, in Roll20 or Map Tool or any software for Dungeons and Dragons, for making virtual tabletop in Dungeons and Dragons. Whenever you want to use some vision blocking techniques there, and then those vision blocking tools always are consist of drawing some vision blocking layer, which is being snapped to grid. So I want to have it already snapped to that grid, so I'm going to have less work with that. Let's say this is my dungeon. I've got my interior selected, so now Ctrl+Shift+I to invert, and with bucket tool I'm going to fill my walls. And just to show you, I'm going to make a duplicate of walls, so we will see that vision blocking in practice. Vision blocking example. For walls, I want to use some texture. Let's say I want to use these rocks here, and those are very large granular rocks, so perhaps like 5% will be enough for my purposes. Let's say I want to go just with stroke, 2 pixel, maybe 3 pixel stroke, and some inner glow, just to mark those walls, just to highlight them a little bit. And let's say I want to use outer glow as well to make some shadows following those walls, just to highlight them even a little bit more. Maybe spread them a little bit more, just to make this dungeon look a little bit darker. And in this case, I want to have a column here, so I could use just elliptical marquee tool and make ellipse like this, but perhaps I want this a little bit smaller. So what we can use as well is common circular brush. Let's say we want 70 pixels, and done. So we got column here, and maybe I want some columns here as well. And let's say that in this case I want square columns. So let's use this brush and just put some columns down like this. And I want some hidden, entrance here, so perhaps let's make thin walls layer in this case, and I'm going to copy layer styles to it because I want to use exactly the same texture and settings on it. But what I recommend to do, what I would like to recommend to do is actually moving all columns and all things which are not really part of outer walls to move to that thin walls layer. So in this case I'm going to make layer via cut. Selection is empty. Oh, I'm in wrong layer. Layer via cut, and you can see that I split it, and now I've got separated layer with columns. And why I did it is because I want to expand those walls a little bit. Because if you use this map for virtual tabletop in Dungeons and Dragons, and if you use vision blocking, then what players will see is something like this. They will actually see vision blocking, so they are prevented from seeing those walls, and they will see only interior rooms like this. And it's completely black, and they don't see those walls. They don't see why they can't see here. And if you use lighting as well, so there is some distance where light is falling off until there is no light at all, then they may get a little bit confused. And also it means that you were pretty much messing with those walls just for naught because they don't get to see them. So what I usually do is that I expand those walls a little bit. I select everything, select, modify, expand by about 10% of my grid size, delete everything and fill it again. And now players will actually see something like this, so they will be able to see those walls, at least those sides like this. So if you want to use vision blocking, I recommend you expand those outer walls of your dungeons like this. So we've got walls, and now we want that thin wall here, and we want to, I usually make thin walls with exclusively a round brush, because whatever the direction, it will remain of the same thickness. And I want to make that wall like this, perhaps. There we go. Now, this is still further plain, and you can see that those tiles are just repeating themselves because they are the same tiles going everywhere. So let's make a dirt layer with some pattern, which will be dirt. And we are going to use brush I shared with you, and it's going to be brush I use for blending things together. This one, 150 pixels or something like that, and very small flow. And now we got that dirt texture here in this brush, and we are painting, we are actually placing dirt on it. And you can see that I've got that layer here just above tiles, but beneath walls and everything else. So we are breaking that pattern now a little bit, because it's not just tiles everywhere, the same tiles all the time. Those tiles are somewhere a little bit more dirty. And probably the secret room, it's a room where pretty much no one was for a very long time, so it's going to be the most dirty, I would say. And the others will be a little bit more clean. And let's say perhaps you want to place some bones there as well. And I've got pattern here ready for that as well. And for bones, I usually, or other details, I usually use smaller brushes. And let's place some bones here, you know, into those corners, just to scare players off a little bit. You know, they enter dungeon and the first thing they see are bones lying on the floor. And I said that there will be some traps here in those side places. So yeah, place some bones around as well here. You know, just to keep players a little bit on their toes. Now this is still fairly simple and very basic dungeon map, but I would say that it doesn't look completely terrible. Now I'm going to cut the excess, because I don't need all of that wall place here. And I've got my dungeon here. So fairly small, very quick dungeon. We are able to make this in 30 minutes, but it looks, I would say, like something we spent way more time on. Especially if you are not familiar with Photoshop. If you see something like this, you are like, wow, dude, how much time did you have to spend on it? Well, couple of minutes, literally. It's easy. And that's why I made those videos, just to show you and prove to you that you can do things like this fairly easily without without needing to be able to draw, or without having a graphical tablet or whatnot. So I made this just with mouse. That's it. And with patterns from World of Warcraft. So that's it, guys. I hope this was useful for you. We are going to improve this dungeon and place some more stuff on it, like stars and so on, in the following videos. For now, thanks for watching. I hope this was useful to you, and as always, happy map drawing.